Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a career transitions coach. I think I finally settled on the term, but I'm not quite sure. It's still a work in progress. In any event, we know that you're here because you want to get that networking and support, and we're here to provide it for you. I know that this is not your favorite place to be on a Wednesday, but in any event, our goal here is to provide that networking, that support, and these job search or career search tips and tricks to help you get moving toward that next forever job. Now, I'm excited to tell you that we've got a couple of other career coaches here today. You know Ken and Sue, and we're going to let them introduce themselves in just a moment. But in the meantime, I want to tell you a little bit about me. As I said, this is not this is a place for networking and support. It's not a sales pitch. But here's my only pitch. I've been doing this for over 8 years, okay? And I support these free programs by doing some private coaching. So I'm going to put my information into the chat. I see several people that I'm working with here, and that's great to see. More importantly, what you need to know is that I've been in the HR area and working in this career search area now for well over 20 years. 20 years plus in human resources, an HR business partner, a talent acquisition manager, a recruiter, both inside and outside companies, as well as a hiring manager. And I use that information to bring to this career coaching that I do, this career transitions coaching. And I've been doing that now for the past 8 years. The information that we bring you today, that I bring, that Ken brings, that Sue brings, is all based not only on our own experience, but on our research, on what we see and the connections we've made with other coaches, with talent acquisitions managers, with hiring managers, with what we hope and what we see as the best practices based on almost a weekly basis because things change that quickly. So that's my pitch. I'm going to put my information in the chat. I'm happy to work with all of you. More importantly, at this point, I'm happy to have a quick conversation with anyone. So please reach out and connect and join me. I'm going to let Ken and Sue introduce themselves too.
Go ahead, Ken. You were mentioned first.
I was mentioned first. Okay. I thought it was going to be women, ladies first, but okay. Um, Kenneth Lang here from Northern New Jersey. I'm here to support all of you. I am a brand specialist at Lee Act Harrison, which I have enjoyed doing for the last 2.5 years. One of the things we've been chatting about, and I was doing a presentation for PSG Central on Monday, is the job scams and identity and all that. And we're going to be chatting about that later on today on Clubhouse. I am doing several presentations in the coming weeks about that because one of the things we're having a struggle with job seekers is knowing what's real and what's not real, knowing what you can do to protect yourself. And so I'm looking forward to a very spirited conversation today. Sue, great seeing you again. Linda, great seeing you too. So take it away, Sue.
Thanks, Ken. Ken and Linda and I do this with you all because it's also a place for you to come. And I want to make sure that I acknowledge part of the reason I started my pom poms many years ago is to celebrate successes. Just the fact that you're showing up here today for a conversation, today's learning about things. In fact, I think we're focused on resumes and stuff. It's important that you recognize that you're showing up, trying to learn the best way forward because things are changing quickly. I mentioned to Linda in a comment that I've noticed resume changes even in the last couple months. We also learn from you, and I want to make that clear. Ken, Linda, and I follow a lot of stuff and a lot of people. But you all are on the ground and you're saying, this is what I heard in my last time, or here's an AI interview process I'd never seen. So thank you for being here and helping exchange, because this is what I often talk about when I hold up a mirror and say, when you come and you talk to other people, you verbalize things that give you insights and also help give us insights. So we're here to help aggregate the knowledge that you have. And as Linda started with, this is also a networking site, so use your peers as well as connecting with Ken and me. One small thing, several of you put in links for your LinkedIn here without the https://::. If you could add that in or go to your profile and just copy your profile with that it'll make a clickable link, because otherwise people have to do a few things to connect with you. And you want to make it easy for them to connect with you. So always make sure that that long piece of HTTP code is in there. All right, back to you, Linda.
Thank you very much, guys. And you're right. We're here to learn from you as well as to share with you. And today what we're going to do is we're going to start with some quick wins. So for those of you who haven't been here before, please make sure that you raise your digital hand. We want to spend just about 15 minutes on these quick wins today, simply because we've got so much to cover. We want to be able to try and limit that. So I see Lisa has her hand up.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. I had 2 interviews, did not get the positions, but I reached out to both hiring people and they gave me some good feedback, said they liked everything, and the only reason I didn't get the job is that I was less qualified than somebody else. But they also offered to refer me to other jobs, which was really good. And then I had another interview last weekend or last Friday, and I have a second interview sometime after in the beginning of the month.
Fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And one of the things that I
Thank
really
you.
like, Lisa, is the fact that you went back to them not only for feedback, but for support, and that they're willing to do that.
Yeah.
It's a great tip. Even if, tip for everybody, if you don't get the job, go back and do another thank you. Get that feedback support. Ask not only, can you keep in touch, but also what kind of advice they can give you to better prepare yourself for the job next time. It works really well. Good luck. Keep us posted.
Thank you.
I see Jennifer has her hand up.
I had an interview this morning the pay is just too low, but the interview went well. And this afternoon, I'm looking for a new job as a paralegal or legal assistant because I just got my paralegal certificate the end of June. So I found a job near me that is an intellectual property law, which would be a great fit because I have a background in IT and engineering. And I had to do it, but they're posting the job through a local recruiting firm. So I had to really do some digging to find a direct email address for the recruiter herself. And I have a Zoom interview with her this afternoon. So I did a little networking and some sleuthing to get that, because I applied, they posted job through ZipRecruiter, which went nowhere. So I did some sleuthing and contacted the recruiter directly through her email, and here we are. So
Perfect. So can you tell us, congratulations on that. So tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit about what kind of sleuthing you did to be able to find that email address.
Okay, well, they gave the name of the recruiting firm in ZipRecruiter. So I went to their main webpage, this was like 2 weeks ago, and applied to their direct email address, but it was pretty bland. Like it was just hello at recruitingfirmname.com. So that went nowhere. So then I went to their LinkedIn page for the company. Then I clicked people, the tab for people. And there was one of the people said a senior recruiter, and she gave her email address right on her LinkedIn profile. So I sent her an email with a nice cover letter and my customized resume. And that was Monday. She was on vacation, it turns out, on Monday. So she emailed me back yesterday to schedule this Zoom interview for this afternoon. So it's basically from ZipRecruiter to their webpage to LinkedIn to people to direct email. And here we are.
And that's perfect. That's exactly the right way to do it.
Thank you.
And it's tips that other people can use, which is wonderful. Okay. Don't settle for that bland email response. Okay. By the way, I don't know what Ken and Sue think about ZipRecruiter, but I'm not a fan.
I don't like it either. I just
Okay.
happen to get an email alert. I only go on ZipRecruiter when I get email alerts. I don't even bother.
Never
otherwise.
apply on Zip. Never,
No.
ever apply on Zip. Never apply on any of those job search sites. Apply directly on the company site. But Zip is more than anything else an aggregator. It's a spider. It pulls information, and many times the information that it pulls is out of date. So it's not even, no company that I am aware of, and I may be wrong, I don't know everything, but I've not seen a single job posted on Zip that wasn't posted someplace else.
Yeah.
Okay, even though Zip is trying to make itself that search engine, that job board of note, but not always the case. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Lashana, would you like to turn your camera on? There you go.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My internet is acting wonky, so that's why I'm having my camera on and off. But I just want to give everybody an update. I had my third interview with the company that I've been interviewing with yesterday. And I actually found out that a very close family friend has been working for the company for 11 years. So she sent the follow-up recommendation after yesterday's interview. And it sounds like I'm in the top final candidates. So hopefully I'll be hearing something soon, and it's good news.
Good, congratulations. Keep us posted.
I sure will.
Okay. All right, and I see one more. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
We're good.
Good. I received a call today right before our Zoom call from a job I've been interviewing with for about over a month now. But I received a call today saying I'm scheduled on Monday for a tasting for an executive chef position that I've been working on. So hopefully all goes well. Let's see how that goes.
Good, let us know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other quick wins that anybody has? Anyone new? Since we've got another couple of minutes. If somebody's new and would like to introduce themselves,
Actually,
please.
I do have a quick win, but I cannot find a hand to raise.
That's okay.
I applied for a job and went on LinkedIn to the company's page, found all the people whose title was recruiter or talent acquisition type things. Then sent connection request with a message saying, hey, I just applied for this role. If you have any questions, let me know. Got a connection acceptance from a recruiter who said, sure, I can tell you who then I went back and asked who the recruiter was for that job. And they said, sure, I can tell you who. It's this person, and gave me the link, who I'd already sent a connection request to as part of my initial scatter shooting, I guess you could say. And said she was out of the office, so she said it might take some time to get back with you. I said, do you know about how much time, so I'm not, hounding her when she's still out of the office. And he said a few weeks, but I talked to her and let her know. And she got back to me and also accepted my connection request. So we currently have an online video interview for Friday morning.
Excellent.
So it was kind of I guess you could say a bold move doing it that way, but in this case it worked.
It does, and that's perfect. And there's nothing wrong with taking bold moves. Okay? It's a
Yeah, all
really
I can
good.
say is no, right?
That's exactly right. You have nothing to lose, okay, by trying. So that's fantastic. And I love the idea of sending out those connection messages. The other thing is that when you have already applied for the job, what you can do is say, I've applied, please take a look. Okay, which is another way of doing it. I'd appreciate your feedback in a conversation. So that works. But always connect with those recruiters, find them, connect. You never know what can happen. Can you see us? Yes, there you go.
Hi, my name is Kondal Reddy. I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland, and my area of work is clinical research. My wins for this week was I just had an interview yesterday for a research program coordinator position at University of Maryland.
Wonderful.
So it was very positive, and I sent my thank you. And I know in my conclusion, they said they are interviewing more people, so I'm probably going to follow up with them in a week again.
Absolutely. So did you send them a thank you?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Perfect. So the
immediately.
idea,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then follow up with them in a little while. They've already said that they've got other people that they're interviewing. Universities are notoriously slow in the process. Okay,
Yeah.
just like anybody else. But yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. And it sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah. Just waiting for that one opportunity right now, since I've
That's
been
all we can
waiting.
do. Exactly. Congratulations. Okay, Stacy, you've got your hand up too. Can you turn on your camera?
Yeah, well, honestly, this was a last minute thing, so I'm really not camera ready, so I apologize.
None of us are camera ready. It doesn't make any difference. We don't, this is not an interview, by the way, guys. This is conversation.
Okay.
So don't worry about being camera ready.
I appreciate that. So I did, been actively looking for 3 months. I did, it was a great job opportunity, actually with the Federal Bank of New York. I'm in construction, so it was like a project exec position. I knew I had all the qualifications, and then you have to go through I had a first interview through HR, and I think that's where I blew it. I thought I was prepared, but not as prepared as much. The woman was fabulous though. I mean, she was great. There was nothing, she was very forthcoming, but in my prep, and I also then started to second guess my resume if it has all the, because I have such a diverse background. It's not like I've been in the industry since the late 80s and very diverse background. So I'm not like doing high rises for 20 years, so it's a very tough thing to describe your qualifications in one piece of paper, so, but I didn't make it to the second round, which is fine because it was a good learning experience for me. And I've been looking at different suggestions on how to be better prepared for that first screening, HR screening, they called it, interview. So, but I just wanted to, so I'm happy for something like this. I didn't see this as the first time seeing this. So thank you very much for this.
Absolutely. I'm glad, Stacy. Okay. Anybody else?
Linda, we have a new person, Venice. I forget her. No, Venice, like V.
Venice. Okay. Venice. Venice, can you put your digital hand up so we can find you? There it is. Would you like to do a quick introduction?
Oh, wow. Not really, but okay.
It doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be much. It's just who you are, what you're looking for.
So Linda, it's like I've been on this journey of what I'm looking for. And so my short story is that I was laid off from Disney with 500 other people. So once my job search journey went into like the 5th year, then I said, okay, something's not right here. I need to rethink this whole process, and maybe I need to do something else. So then I went on that journey, which was a journey of reflection, reinvention, transformation. What is it that I can be doing? What's the transferable skill that I have that I can use, monetize, and maybe make it an alternative stream of income? So that turned into writing and research for the very thing I was studying, which is personal and career development best practices for finding our purpose, passion, and dream jobs. And so I gave up trying to get back into Disney because that's really the only place I want to go back to, if at all. And then I was able to put together a book. So that job loss journey turned into an educational sabbatical. And then I had all my light bulb moments. And then I just sat down and started the writing process. And now I'm on that journey.
Wonderful. So are you looking now for a full-time job or just to move? Not just, but are you looking for the full-time job? Or are you looking for a way to continue to monetize in your own business?
What I'm trying to do is the book is on Amazon. I'm in a little stall right now because the publisher just had a baby. So we're a month not doing anything. But at least it's on Amazon. So I do want to go back. Maybe not, I don't want to go back full time. I really want to go back in the field of education and edutainment. And a lot of the companies have corporate citizenship departments where they go out into the community. HR also has learning and development. So I kind of want to transfer into those spaces back in the entertainment industry, but in those departments, if that makes sense.
Okay, it does. Remote in person?
Remote or in person. I mean, Disney would be easy for me because I could do remote and they're not far. And their corporate citizenship department is right there on the lot where I used to work. So I just wanted to get the book settled and then so that I could let that try to see if that's going to get any wings and bring in any alternative streams of income. And then I'll go back to doing something maybe part-time. But I don't want to go back to the cubicle. I don't want to go back to sitting 9 to 6 at a cubicle, helping other people realize their dreams. I want to work on mine.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations. And if you'd like to put the link to your book in the chat, you can do that.
Okay, eventually.
You don't have to. Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, then what we're going to do, and by the way, Sue, thank you for monitoring the chat because I don't always get a chance to do that. And I did see one question that I've already replied to, which was the idea about some of these scams that are out there. And Ken, I know you're going to be doing that too, online tigers and resumes. By the way, I love the new branding. It's beautiful, really cute. Did you do that or did somebody else? If you haven't seen it, it's really nice.
I'm pretty sure Claire did that. We've been going around for a while. We kind of got tired of what we were doing. So but I figured with everything going on with Cracker Barrel, it felt like a good time to kind of, which indirectly is what I was alluding to. But I mean, I just thought it'd be like a cool thing to do.
I think it's really good. It's nice. And anyway, but the idea is if anybody's contacting you on WhatsApp, it is not a real contact. Period, paragraph, end of issue. No legitimate recruiter, no legitimate company is going to contact you on WhatsApp. Lots of things may be changing, that hasn't. So if you're getting those calls, you can report and block. That's the only way that I know of to stop it, at least from that one number. It's not going to stop them forever, but it's going to be there. Okay, but WhatsApp is absolutely not a legitimate way to do anything that is job related. Okay. Yes, I know Cracker Barrel just went back to their old logo. Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about recruiting.
Hey, Linda.
Yes, Charles.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm just in the car, so
It's okay.
But I just wanted to share. I got an email from a recruiter that referenced a previous email that he had sent me a week or two earlier, and I don't recall ever having seen the original email. Just as an FYI, right? I also Googled and searched for the company name, and that came up suspiciously when I tried to go to the domain. My Norton antivirus said malicious domain, so I got saved by that. But then I started digging into it. But saying I sent you an email a week or two ago is 100% in line with the social engineering construct of manipulating people by sort of creating that sense of artificial urgency that, oh, maybe I missed an email and my banner said I'm open to work, so you sent me something. They can get your email address and maybe even your phone number if they're connected to you on LinkedIn. And it makes you want to respond because you're like, oh no, I missed it. It's not something you missed. It's something they constructed to force you to feel guilty and want to respond. So it's, be aware of that as a manipulation technique as well.
Good point. And you're absolutely right. Okay. If somebody's really sending you something like that, they may forward an email if you haven't responded, but no, double check to see who they are, what's going on. Doing that due diligence, Charles, is absolutely important. Thank you for sharing it. Okay. Anything else before we get started? Okay, so there are several ways as we get going that you can raise questions. One of which is to raise your digital hand. The other is to put question all in caps in the chat, and we'll try and get to you as often as we can. Yes, Bo.
Hi, Linda, just real quick, just something to help anybody in particular in the Chicago area. I put in the chat 2 job fairs that are coming up, one in St. Charles, Illinois on September the 18th, another at Northern Illinois University at the Convo Center on October 8th. So the details are there, but just trying to help anybody in the Chicago area.
Bo, you're always really good about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We've got a nice group here. By the way, one more thing I'm going to add for the chat. Please, if you have ideas for future sessions, we want to make sure that those work for you. So put idea or topic all in caps so that I can see it later, and then we'll go forward. So that whole idea about resumes, right? Want to share some of the things that we know that are working and some of the things that we know are not. So I'm going to ask Ken and Sue if they're willing to join me up here. Okay. And let's just do a quick little review about what you're hearing, and then we'll go from there. And then we're going to talk about best practices. What should you keep? What should you remove? And go from there. So Sue or Ken, would you like to start? Sue, go.
All right, 2 things that I've learned in the last, well, one thing I've done for a couple of years, one thing I learned recently. You want to prime the reader. So the ATS is part of it. You have to catch the attention of the ATS, but that's basic information. And in the last year, people have been recommending, because as Linda said, we learn from others as well, recommending that you put the project title either above your summary or below your summary. I saw information 2 months ago that I think is very valuable because you want to prime the reader to think this is personalized for my job. You want the actual job title you're applying for, comma, and the company. Capitals bold in the middle, right under your heading information, so that they see that and they say, oh, project manager at University Hospital, that's us. They're not going to even think about it, but it's one of those subliminal messages. Again, I didn't invent it. I heard about it, and it seems to resonate with the people that I'm helping now.
Absolutely.
The second area is something I've focused on for several years, and that is scannability. In this case, the left margin is your best friend. So if you don't know about the F pattern, the letter F like flag, people read across the first line of a couple lines of text, skip to the middle, and then scan down the left-hand side. So you want to make sure that you're telling some compelling information, because we don't scan across a whole screen. And people, when they open, don't read. When we open a document on screen, we go to the top left, because we're the Western cultures read top left to right, but we scan before we read. So find ways that you can make it attractive to read for the reader, or easy to read, I should say. And if you want more information on this, just let me know in the chat. I can upload some links to mentor time is what I do for professional development a couple times a month. I've done a couple of these recently. The goal is the scroll, virtual visibility, things like that. So if you're interested, let me know. And if not, that's fine too. Just remember the left margin. All right, Ken, on to you.
I'm gonna take this from a different perspective, only because of the plethora of resumes I see all the time. Too many resumes have too much information or not enough information, and it's really hard to figure out a sweet spot. But I look at resumes all the time, and I ask people, after all, read them back to yourself, because they can become, you wonder what the heck are you saying. It's almost like a potpourri of junk. Excuse me for saying it, because it's just really hard, and people get very close to what they have written down, but you got to get their attention. And you got there, get there, and sometimes it's little things. Sometimes it's stuff that doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's acronym crazy stuff. And I recommend you reread your resume to yourself. And the worst thing I've seen, and I'm actually part of a conversation on LinkedIn, someone is trying to promote an AI tool to make the resumes better. And they come up with these template resumes, and they're horrible.
Yeah, they are horrible.
I mean, they're horrible from many different standpoints, not the least of which is readability, but it's also you can tell a ChatGPT resume from a mile away. And people asked me on Monday, how do you know that? And I said, this is how you know it. And I actually gave them a demo. The resume has to be interesting, accomplishment driven, and there's no one right or wrong to it. Everyone's is different. Yes, you have to have the title on the top. Yes, you definitely have to have skills. And I've said this again and again and again, skills are not created equally, or competencies are not created equally. I don't care if you're an effective communicator. I don't care if you're a networker. I mean, these are the things that come out of ChatGPT. Tell me what is special about you. And it's hard for a job seeker to hear that sometimes. So we have to kind of tone down the comments that way. But sometimes you just have to say it the way it is, at least the way we think it is.
Absolutely. Okay. And here's the thing that I want to emphasize. This is about you. This is your sales tool, but it's not about everything you've ever done. It's about what you can do for me. And when we're talking about making it readable, remember that you've got 2 to 9 seconds to grab my attention. Okay. Which means that you have to have the information that's relevant to me, that's going to make me want to see more, right up at the top of that resume. It's not enough to have it scattered throughout and say, oh, somebody will find it. The ATS may find those keywords, but you've got to look at me. You have to format it, forgive me, for the dummy on my side of the desk or the screen. The easier you make it for me to see what you can do for me, rather than everything you've ever done, the more likely I am to reach out to you to get more information. Which also means that when we're talking about formatting, simple is better. Plain, dull, boring Word document. No text boxes, no columns, no icons, okay? No tables. Forget about what the ATS can read. You're making it easy for me. And for the most part, I'm reading your resume on screen. I'm not printing it out. The only time I'm going to print it out is if we're having a one-on-one conversation in an interview face-to-face. But otherwise, I'm reading it on screen. Hiring managers, recruiters repeatedly tell us they don't like highly formatted resumes. It makes it hard for them to know where to look. It makes it hard for them to see specifically what you can do for them. And since your goal in that first third of top of the resume, that first quarter to third of the page, is to make it really clear how you match my job, what you can do for me, that extra formatting works against you, not for you. Please, 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 if you take nothing else away from this, plain, dull, boring Word resume. I know that they look pretty, the others, but we're not in the day and age where you're walking in and somebody's going to say, ooh, that's a pretty resume. I'm going to pull that one out of the pile. Yeah. They want the content. So focus in on content and use whatever formatting you need to make it clear to me what you can do for me.
Linda, I just want to add something to what Ken said. Um, it's useful to read your resume, but after a while you get blind to what you've written. So you can have readers read it to you, your friends, or your favorite large language model, GPT, will read it to. Have someone read it where you're listening to how you're talking to the other side of the convo. And try to listen not with, am I great enough, but rather, am I telling them the evidence for hiring me? Am I starting with a compelling line or whatever? I mean, we're not writing fiction, so we don't have to write the best first line ever. We just have to capture attention.
And that's absolutely right. Perfect. Segue into what we want to go now. Okay. So the idea is that we want to talk about the resumes. Best practice, number one, worry about the content. The only formatting you need is something that's going to make it easy for us to see what you can do for us. Number two, tailor it every time. Make sure that you're making it really clear what you can do for me. If I have to read through your resume to try and figure it out, I may just pass. Come back to it at a later date. Want to eliminate quickly a myth about the ATS systems. Okay. ATS systems are not going to screen you out, at least not yet. ATS systems are automated file cabinets. If I'm looking for an ATS system, I need to be able to read your resume, which means that the formatting has to count there as well. But more importantly, I'm going to be putting in some keywords myself as a recruiter to say, here are the things that I want. Please sort these for me. It's not going to screen you out unless there are specific things that I'm saying must have. And if it's a must have and it's not there, okay, that's a different story. But don't worry about screening by the ATS, worry about screening by me. It's another reason to make sure you're applying directly, because I'm going to get that email saying several systems or several resumes have been added to the system. Please take a look. And that's what I'm going to do. So ATS is important only in the sense that your resume has to be able to be read, but please don't worry about the rest of it. Okay, so plain simple formatting will work there as well. Ken's putting some great ideas in there about how to find those actionable things. Ask them what you do. Sue's idea about making sure that you read it really helps. I also recommend walking away from it for a little bit. Okay, and that cover letter too. I know you want to get it done quickly, but if you walk away and take another look, sometimes that will help you see some things that we haven't seen before. So the idea is to think about it from somebody else's perspective, not from yours. Okay. I know we probably have some questions in the chat, but I wanted to start, okay, by sharing a plain, simple format. And I will put this in our private group as well. Because the idea is you want to make things clear for everybody else. So if we're talking about best practices, hiring managers, recruiters say they want to see that information right up at the top of the resume. Remember, this is going to be what some people are now calling a minimalist resume, means cut out the formatting. It means that I want to make sure that what you're doing, every word that you put in there is important to what you want to say. So remove all the extras, the verbiage, the adjectives, okay? If you're going to say you're great at something, instead of doing that, demonstrate it. Show me, don't tell me. So we're going to talk about some of the rest of this later, but I really wanted to just plain simple, here's kind of the way that this works. We know that this format works. We know that hiring managers are looking for this. We know that recruiters are, because in the very top of this resume, you've got the information that I need in order to move forward to see how much further I want to go. So as Sue said, okay, obviously your name, your location, email, and phone number, please don't label them. I can figure out that it's an email address. I can figure out that it's a phone number. I don't need to know whether it's your mobile or not. Makes no difference. But I want your email address as a clickable link. And if you haven't done an email address that is your name at gmail.com, please set that up. We want that professional looking email address as opposed to HockeyMom3. Okay. No AOL, no Yahoo. Gmail is the site of choice. And if you need an email address just for your job search, that's not a bad thing. But we want to be able to think about you. Oh, I remember talking to Deborah, but I can't remember her name. But if I start typing Deborah, that should pop up, right?
Yeah.
Make it easy for me. And that's the whole goal. Make it a clickable link. Your phone number, obviously, you want to put that in there. Your LinkedIn URL, you want to put in there as well. Again, a clickable link. And we know that if you're doing it for us, okay, that HTTPS www, right, is really important. But when you're doing it for your resume, I want you to get into the habit of shortening that URL, and you can do that. So the way that you do that, okay, let me see if I can do this quickly. All right. So that's my URL. But if I do this and I copy it, and I go up here to, because I'm just in a Word document. And I want to insert a link. I need to find that on here. Somebody can find it for me because obviously I'm missing it at the moment.
You can right click the text, the URL text, and it should say create a link or hyperlink.
Oops.
I think it's Control K, Linda, if you're on
That's it. Thank you. I knew that. Thank you. Every once in a while, it just goes away, right? So Control K, and then you're going to put the link in here. Okay, it's not an email address, it's just the link. And it's not working for me right now. There we go. Nope. Still inserted the mail too. All right. I'll think about that behind the scenes because I do know how it works. Just not working for me right now. But you want to be able to insert that. Okay, and if somebody's got it in the chat, that's perfect, or can come back in and remind me. But you want to make sure that you've got that in there. Okay, I want to make it not only that clickable link, but you want to make it look as though you know how to do this quickly and make it work. Okay. As Sue was talking about the position and the company name, absolutely. We used to just say the position, but over the last couple of months, the idea of adding that company name actually makes it additionally personable, okay, related to what it is people want to do. And it's easier for them to see it that way as well. Professional summary. I don't know about Sue and Ken, so please chime in on this one. what are you seeing about professional summaries? I'm seeing sometimes that people like them, sometimes they don't. Professional summary is really 2 to 3 lines about who you are in relationship to the job. Sue?
I like it. I recommend it. First of all, do not label it professional summary. People know what it is. Don't waste a line. Don't waste all of that. Start in with it. Whether or not people like it, you almost don't know unless they say specifically, like someone gave an example of some instructions for a resume they had to send in, but generally it's not questioned. Put it in there because, again, it primes the reader. And I'm all about you taking control of your story, because the next thing they see is either your experience, which is reverse cron order, or a list of skills. And both of those are chunks of information rather than you giving them the big level, high level highlight. That's my feeling on it, is take the space to take control of your story.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think a lot of times I see summaries that are ridiculous and very basic and very so what I do a lot of times is, and again, this is from Leah Harrison, I will put in comments example in boldface. I will say this is an example of what to do, and I will come up with the 2 or 3 lines. I'll put that caveat because sometimes people don't know what to put in there. And that's where the whole AI chat GPT comes in. You know, they may say, what do you suggest as a summary for job A, B, C, and D? And that's where there's a danger. You know, tell me about yourself. Tell me about what you can do to support me at the company. I don't care if you're an accomplishment-driven project manager that manages team. I don't care. I mean, I do care about it, but that's not the most important thing.
And it's a waste of space.
Absolutely.
Because if you're saying that, I want to see where you're showing me the accomplishments. Don't tell me, show me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And remember that section is often a screen out rather than a screen in. And here's why. If it's too generic, if you're including everything, okay, in every industry, it tells me you haven't really read my description. You don't really want this job, you want any job. So make it very specific to this job. Change it every time for the job that you're applying for. So yes, absolutely. Okay. Aaron, you got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. So just a quick question about that. So when you say 2 or 3 lines, the first thing that pops in my head is, a line could be short or a line can be pretty long and broken up with hyphens and commas, right? So I'm trying to understand from a spatial standpoint, how much space should the summary take up on your resume? Is it a quarter, a third? Because I understand, yes, you're trying to convey what you're going to bring to the role, but you're also wanting to add in that personality too, so that it doesn't look cookie cutter. And obviously, I think that takes more, verbiage. So I'm trying to understand from a spatial standpoint.
So from a spatial standpoint, you're really talking, right?
Yeah,
2 to 3
I
lines.
would probably, the statement is maybe 2 or 3 lines, and then the rest goes into an accomplishment section where you can highlight some of those things so it doesn't become a half page. I
Correct.
just want to get your attention right off the bat. If you want to listen, I managed a $500 million this, I led a team of 10 plus people doing A, B, C, and D. Those are accomplishments. I think the issue I have is people have a summary section that's 10 lines. And I'll just break it up because no one's going to read after a while.
No.
But there's a nuance to that. I mean, it's not a right or wrong, and you have to kind of think about it. But again, it's like that's why I would break it out that way, into 2 separate parts.
And I agree. So that really is a short summary, Aaron. Okay. It's not going to bring in all of the rest of it. If it's longer than 3 to 4 lines, people will not read it. We're in the age of sound bites and tweets and Twitters and whatever it is. Okay. It has to be short or we stop reading. This is your teaser to get me to read more. This is where you can insert a little bit of that personality if you want to, but that personality also goes into your cover letter. But this is the only spot on the resume where you can put that personality in there. but this is not where you talk about your accomplishments. That comes next. So
Okay.
after, does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. So after you've done that summary, right, and we're not labeling it, you're going to go into your accomplishments or your highlights. And then we're going to do the skills, which are keywords. Now, you can switch those two sections up. Some people like to do the skills or expertise first, some the accomplishments or highlights. It really doesn't make any difference. What's important is that those two things are separate. They're broken out. They're making it easy for me to see what you have done and how you can help me, how you fit my job. So when we're talking the accomplishments or those highlights or whatever it is you want to call it, you're talking about actual results. So when Ken was saying you achieved X for this, perfect. That's where I want to see it. Don't tell me your accomplishment, show me. Don't tell me you're an expert, give me the reason, give me the result. What is it you did that makes you stand out? So in that accomplishment section, you're going to pick the 2 to 6 most significant accomplishments you've had anywhere in your career that are relatable to the new job. It's those things that most relate to the new job because I want to see, oh, he's done it there, she's done it there. I can see how that would work for me. So you're giving those results to make me see how you fit and what you've done for somebody else. Now you write those in that combination of specific but generic.
Hey, Linda, I just put in the chat, and I did a cut and paste. I did something from a resume I did from Lee Hecht Harrison. This is what was given to me. And it was all in one section at the top. And I had to break this out. This was actually a summary type section of like 12 lines. No, but that's what people don't know what they don't know. And this, I'm not mentioning the person, but this is just a perfect example of something that I get all the time.
We all get that all the time. Or
Yeah.
we have people who use that professional summary area more as an objective. Here's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
This,
people
this
don't
could be
care.
broken out, but I would go more specific. What was the benefit? You know, be specific with things that you did. But I think a visual sometimes is really helpful to show this.
Absolutely. So can you take that out and put it, I'm going to stop sharing. Can you put it on screen so that you can share that?
How can I do a screen share here, open system settings? All right, let me actually, all right, let me see if I can figure out how to do this here. Because this is also a new laptop here. So
I know. I don't know whether that's congratulations or condolences.
I don't know if it is or not. So share.
Okay.
Let me actually just send this later on because I don't want to, you know.
That's fine.
But basically what I'll do is I'll put this in the group. That take a 10 or 11 or 12 thing line, bullet point it out and be specific.
Yep.
So I'll work on this on the side, you know.
That's fine. Okay. So now let me go back to this for real quick and then we'll answer some questions. And I know we got a little carried away with this, but if anybody is interested and we can do or can stay on a little bit longer, and I can only stay on a little bit longer today, we might be able to do a couple of quick resume reviews, or we'll do that another day. Okay, but I wanted to go back to this real quick, just in terms of the formatting, and I will put this format in our private group as well. So we've got the accomplishments or the highlights, the 2 to 6 most important things you've done anywhere in your history that match the new job. The reason for pulling them out of your history and putting them up here is because they become more transferable in my mind if they're not tied to an old job or an old time frame. So it's specific but generic. Here's the result without telling me where it was. The skills and expertise, think about these as keywords from the job posting. You want anywhere from 6 to maybe 12, 18 of these max. These are the keywords from the posting. Don't make them long. These are just the words. There's no explanation here. No adjectives to go with it. Just the words. What is it that you can do? What's that expertise? Think about them as Boolean search terms. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Now, I'm going to try to do this one more time if you want to give me a screen share, or I'll just try to do this
You got,
here.
I just have to stop sharing so that you can.
Okay, so let me actually try this one more time. Share screen, and hopefully we have some success. Okay, I'm going to call this up over here. Never mind. It's not worth the.
All right.
Okay.
What this tells me is that we need to do this again. So we will do this again next month. Okay, we'll find another time to do that as well. Okay.
I may actually create a post out of this. Actually, I was just thinking about it without mentioning the name, and I think that might be even a better idea.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to do some posts from this as well. All right. But the one thing that I wanted to tell you that employers are telling us, that recruiters are telling us, is that it's important not to talk about tasks. I don't care about tasks. I want to know what you did. Take the word responsible for, collaborated with. Use terms that are most action-oriented to begin with. Give me the result. And if you want to give me the where and the why afterwards, that's fine. But even though we're pulling the most significant ones up top, under each job, you want to list some of those as well. Okay? If we're talking about companies, remember it's reverse chronological order. Most current first. I want to know the company name. If you want to tell me a little bit about the company, one line about the scope of the company and what kinds of things that it's doing, you can do that. But when you've got more than one title at a company, you've moved around, I want to know that too. And one of the mistakes that a lot of us see on resumes is that they list them as separate jobs. If you do that, quick glance, you look like a job hopper. Because I see lots of different jobs and titles and dates without seeing the chronological sense that they're all part of one company. So if you have more than one title at the same company, and many of us do, here's a way of doing that. You want the total dates, okay? You're going to list the company name and the total dates of your employment the whole time, out to the right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to list each individual job directly under that with an indentation like this, so that it makes it clear it's all the same company. You can include the dates for that new job title each time, but again, they're going to be closer to the job title itself as opposed to the total company. So that quick glance, when I'm looking at this resume, I see you have longevity and growth there. I don't see you as a job hopper. I can still see how long you had in each role, but it works together. One of the other questions that we get a lot is that whole idea of how far back should you go? Okay. And my feeling is you go back as far as it's required, as far as it makes sense for your resume. My best guess, and from what I'm still seeing, is 10 to 15 years of experience on the resume. Now, if you've got more than one job that lasted you 20 years, that's a different story. But the most current experience is that which is most important and relevant to the new company. If you're doing something that's older and you want to include it, absolutely, but there are ways of doing it that you can refer back to that skill, that experience, that keyword, okay, without adding all of that extra experience and making your resume 12 pages long. And I say 12 pages because somebody sent me a resume yesterday that was 12 pages long. Okay. But you add a section called additional related experience. And in that section, you can include just your title and the company name that you can refer to it. It doesn't have to be every job, every title. You can if you want to. If you want to put the dates in, you can, but the dates for that are not necessary. but it gives you the ability to refer back to that because it's listed there. And it shows me that you've had some additional experience, that breadth of experience that might help for this new role. Now, if a lot of that experience doesn't relate to the new role, okay, and you've already gone back 15 years, you don't have to include it. If it's redundant, if you've done it over and over and over again, you don't have to include it. But I want to see what you've done that matches what I need. And then the last section on there is the education and relevant training. I don't know what Ken and Sue are hearing in terms of dates of education, but I'm hearing all over the map. If you're, go ahead.
I leave them off unless it's new, unless it's recent, especially if they don't have a lot of background. And I also just put in the chat, you want to add your certifications there too.
Yes.
However they're defined, whether it's, Scrum, whatever it is, especially because I get a lot of education from people who never finished college.
Yep.
And so that becomes a trade-off. For whatever reason, they may have been out 30 years, they went right just from high school to working, and that's where the relevancy comes in. Again, there's no one size fits all for any of this.
No.
We're just talking about general best practices.
Correct. And the idea of adding your certifications and your relevant training, I agree with you, Ken. If your degree is more than 10 years old, 15 years old, don't put a date in. And please, unless your degree was in the last 5 years, your GPA doesn't count. The organizations that you were part of don't count. Okay. Your ranking in the class doesn't count. Sum laude, cum laude. It's great. It's wonderful. Congratulations, but it doesn't belong anymore.
I agree with Sandra in terms of you want to make sure the certifications are current. I don't care if you did something 10 years ago and it's expired. What's the point of putting it on there?
Correct. It has to be current. So where I'm going to differ in terms of the idea of dates, if the degree is old, don't list the date.
Mm-hmm.
But if the training is current, put a date. If you've got a certification and it's valid until, put that valid until. Okay, or current through. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's another way of showing that you're continually learning, growing, adding new skills.
Lifelong learner. Lifelong learner.
Yep, lifelong learning is important.
Yep.
So I'm going to add this to our private group, okay, so that you all have that. But let's go to questions and see where else we can go. Okay. Anybody have any? I know that the chat has been very active today, and that's fantastic. Okay. Those things that we didn't get today, we'll either do in another session next month, or we will continue it, trying to answer as many of these as we can. Jennifer.
Do you feel like August is a very slow month for hiring and things might pick up in September? Is there a cycle to that? Although I know we have a not great job market in general, like what are you seeing as far as job hiring?
I wish I could tell you that there's going to my cracked crystal ball isn't working on this one, Jennifer.
Okay.
Okay. Summer is traditionally a little slower. September, October will normally pick up a little bit, but I can't tell you what's going to happen today. I wish I could. Jeffrey.
So once again, Linda, thank you for an awesome presentation. So with the instead of applying, let's say through the website or applying through the company's website, not necessarily the job board or any of that stuff, is an approach of getting the recruiting manager's email address and sending them an email that shows, hey, here's, obviously here's my resume, here's, my key points that make me ideal for this position, or is that too much?
You mean instead of a direct application?
Yes.
Yes and no.
Okay. I like are the Cubs going to win or lose? Yes or no? I mean, so yeah, I like this.
we can't give you direct answers for some of these things. We can tell you that for some companies, when you send in something directly to a hiring manager, they're going to still say you must apply through the website. Okay. That's not only for legal purposes, but it's also to make sure that everything is there and considered appropriately. Can you send it directly to the hiring manager? Sure, you could. You can also say, I've also added my information in directly into the system. You can do it either way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ken, did you have more for that one?
No, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think a lot of times it just depends. I think ideally, if you can find someone you know at the company, through LinkedIn or something else, that might be helpful to give you some sense of what's going on. Again, I think it's changed. There's nothing wrong with applying directly anymore to someone. It doesn't hurt, but there's just gonna be too much noise at some point. They're just not gonna know what to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Unfortunately, especially as the job market continues to go in the direction that it's going right now, with more people being laid off, more companies deciding what not to do, it's going to be harder. So my gut says apply and reach out. Okay, don't just reach out. Stacy.
Yeah, so what I'm finding, is great information. What I'm finding is, you upload your resume when you go, and I've been applying directly to the job site, because they also in my in the postings, they do say don't apply directly on the job site, in my experience. But anyway, they also, it's almost like you have to re-enter in the application online, you have to re-enter your resume, everything you have in there. So that's why I paid money to have my resume written. Personally, I don't like it. I think it's too much words. It's too much stuff. And I'm hesitant. I like what you have there, but I'm afraid I'm not going to have, as I put in the message to Ken, I'm not going to have the right keywords that it's going to get picked up. So do you just have the standard resume on your, would you recommend or suggest having your standard resume on the LinkedIn profile?
no.
And then when it,
No.
No.
okay.
Don't ever post a resume.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You can't change it. One of the things, not just in this job market, but even more so in this job market, if you're not showing me how you fit my job, if you're not customizing it to me, you're not going to get the attention that you need.
Okay. Thank you.
I would also I would throw the kitchen sink on your LinkedIn profile between the about section and being searchable and all that. But the resume has to be a little more specific and fine tuned. But again, there's no one right or wrong. It depends on the industry, it depends on the situation.
Right.
So when they're doing the search, they're searching your LinkedIn profile? What's written in your profile?
Absolutely, by
Okay.
Boolean searches and everything else. One of the things I would suggest to Lee Harrison to my clients is do a reverse search on people who have the job title and see what's showing up on their profiles.
Ah, good. Okay. Thank
Or
you.
even a
Thank you
job
very
spec.
much.
Just do a search and you'll see why they're coming up the way they are.
Yep. I think that's a great idea.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We are over time, so I just want to do a couple more. And I know we never did get to those resume reviews, but we will. We're going to be doing this every week. We do lunch and learn. So, all right, Charles.
Yeah, I had a quick question. I was sending a follow-up note to a internal recruiter for a company. I hadn't heard from him. It had been a couple of days since I last talked to somebody who said, "We like you. We're going to move you forward." I sent a follow-up note. I said, "Hey, I took a more casual approach. Hadn't heard from you guys yet. I thought it went well. I don't want to be presumptuous." My wife's like, essentially, screw that. You need to say, meeting went well. What are the next steps? When can I expect to hear from you? Not quite that aggressive, but she took more of a forward approach. I was and I was just wondering what your thoughts are on
What did they tell you?
Yep.
Did they tell you when to follow up with them, or was it open-ended?
No, I spoke to the guy Friday afternoon, So I knew going into the weekend, I sent my thank you note out later Friday afternoon. I didn't expect anything Friday, but I figured, I had met with the hiring manager Wednesday, and he said I got my next interview scheduled Tuesday or Friday for a technical deeper dive. So things seemed like they were moving, and I hadn't heard for a couple of days. So I just wanted to sort of do a casual reach out to the recruiter and say, what's up? And she said, just say you had a great call. He said he was going to move it forward, and I was hoping to hear from you about next steps. As I said, my approach would have been a little more self-deprecating, and so as usual, my wife is right, and like,
always listen to
not
your
a
wife.
judgment. I'm just looking for a recommendation.
Always listen to your wife.
Okay, perfect.
It's also Labor Day weekend coming up, so you have to keep that in mind with people leaving and people. Just don't follow up with them on Tuesday.
No.
No, but I'm saying just keep that in mind. I mean, people are in and out. Again, it's just the way it is. But I
Right.
mean,
And I wouldn't do follow up on Friday either, because people are
Right.
going to take that long weekend.
Yeah.
So when you're doing those follow-ups, think about that as part of your sales message. In sales, we call it a soft close. You're making the assumption they're going to follow up. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Have a great Labor Day weekend.
Yep. That's good. That's really good.
Okay? That's all you need to say. Okay? And you can do it to the recruiter. Nothing says you can't do it to everybody else that you've spoken with as well.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have their email addresses. But this is not time for self-deprecation. You're in sales mode, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay? And that soft close, making the assumption that it's going to happen.
Right.
That works.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. For those of you who stuck with us, thank you. David, you've got your hand up, and so does Sandra, and then, we've got 3 more. Ken, if you need to leave, I understand.
Yeah, I'm going to actually have to jump off, but if anyone wants to reach out to me, feel free. Like
Yes.
I said, and I'll put my LinkedIn URL in the chat again before I go. So, because I actually have a Lee Act Harrison thing coming up very soon.
Yeah, I know. I've got another meeting that started 10 minutes ago that I'm sitting in on, but I'll get there in just a couple of minutes.
Yes, I'm just
Okay. Thanks so much for your help, Ken.
Sure thing.
Sorry I missed the meeting yesterday, but we'll talk. Okay. David, you had a question, and then Sandra. Okay.
Yes, I scheduled a meeting for you tomorrow at 3:30. Did you get that?
I haven't even checked my email yet.
Okay, well, I should tell you that, in addition to doing an electronic thing.
So what happens is anytime you all schedule a meeting with me, that calendar link goes directly to my calendar. It will tell you, it will not allow you to schedule something at a time when I have something else going on. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Have a
welcome.
nice day. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Sandra.
Just a little bit of helpful comments. Because of my sales background, you have to let the deal breathe and avoid being a pest and avoid appearing desperate. If it's meant to happen, if you're a fit, then it will happen. And if you're not hearing anything back, if you're being what's called ghosted, which, there's a whole other conversation around that, it's because there's someone else more qualified than you. That's why. And so just let the deal breathe, be conscious of their time. You can follow up after the long weekend. Hope you have had a great weekend. And I'm still interested in the role. And as Linda mentioned, the closing statement, I look forward to hearing of next steps. And then just let it breathe, because the recruiters are busy and they get paid if it's an external recruiter, they get paid on placements, and they have very little to absolutely zero time to be following up in conversations with people. Internal recruiters, different situation. They're paid by the company that they're working for. So they have a little bit more leniency on time. But just let it breathe and be in a relaxed body, because it's your energy that you project. If you project desperation, that's repelling. So just relax. That's my closing statement for the long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay, last question for today.
Hi, I think that's me, Linda.
It is
right?
you.
Okay, great. I want to piggyback on two statements I heard earlier in today's conversation. One, Jeffrey had asked earlier about getting his hands on someone's email address at a company, I believe. And I have, through networking, I couldn't get a referral because the person said, I don't know you well enough. But what I'll do is, here's a hiring person's, like the head of the group, here's their email address. Here's the recruiter for the role. Here's their email address. Go ahead and apply. So, and then send them a quick note. And I think you basically said something, keep it very brief, to the extent of, please take a look at my application and see if there's a fit. Is that as brief as you want to keep it, especially to the highest level person relative to the recruiter? Just your thoughts would be helpful.
So I would make it short, okay? If you've already applied, and you should, okay? You know, you can make it 2 or 3 statements, but the whole idea is, you know, I've applied. Please take a look. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Okay. And would you recommend either, both, one of those two? And here's the resume and cover letter I submitted for your convenience.
You can, but I would wait until they ask for it.
Okay.
Okay. You could, depending upon the role and whether or not you think you're an absolute perfect fit. But for the most part, they're going to have to go into the system. They're going to have to see it that way. Now, hiring manager, maybe. Recruiter, no.
Recruiter, no. Yeah, this is even the highest person on the rung here, you know, like the head of the group. So I figured having the resume could, if she decided, because she's not going to go into the system, she may pass it off to the
No,
recruiter.
she won't go to the system, but she'll ask the recruiter to send it to her.
Okay, so
And
don't.
you can if you want to. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll just include that for convenience, as
Yep.
if you're a stakeholder. Here's this for your convenience if you want to take a look. I won't say that if you want to take a look. All right, sounds great. Something very brief. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, but very brief. Thank you all for hanging in with us. It's been a great conversation, and obviously one we need to continue. So we will do that again next month. Probably, I have to go back and check my calendar to see which one it is, but I will get that scheduled for the next, let's see, 10, 18. Yeah. So the 25th, I think is what it is, because the first, our next session is going to be an Ask Me Anything. Okay, ask us anything. So that whole idea of you've got a job search question, a career search question, anything that you want to ask, we're not a specific topic, bring it up. We'll do our best to answer it. The week after that, we have Melanie Mitchell Wexler, who's going to be talking with us about LinkedIn profiles. And that should be a great session. And then the week after that, it's going to be an open forum, what we call a roundtable discussion. A lot of you have questions about what you're doing to keep yourself motivated, get motivated, stay motivated. And so the idea of being able to share ideas with each other is what this is going to be all about. So you all are going to be leading the conversation. I'm just going to be facilitating it. What you're doing to keep yourself going in the morning, what you're doing to keep yourself going, how you respond when things aren't working your way, what you're doing along the way to keep that going. And then the week after that, we'll do this resume one again. Does that work for you guys? For those of you who are still here? Perfect. We'll do that. Are the accomplishments at the resume different than those that are in the work history? Yes. But if nothing else, if you want to include them in both cases, at the top of the resume, they are generic. You're not tying it to a company. Under the company itself, you can put it in, but change your wording slightly. Okay. The same way that your certifications, for example, if you're a Scrum Master can go underneath in certifications, but it also should go up in the skills. Okay, the expertise, because that's where I'm going to see it first. So unlike many other things, it's okay to do some things twice. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to. Remind you all to please keep a copy of the chat. I'm going to turn off the recording.